It's Thursday, March 5. In the headlines in local news, new expungement law takes effect and government continues to closely monitor Middle East crisis. In business news, gasoline, diesel and petroleum products are up across Jamaica. Regionally, rising fuel prices hit Grenada as Middle East tensions grow. And in sports, reggae boys to feature British-born stars Efron Mason-Clark and Andre Brooks for World Cup playoff in Mexico. This is the news on PBC Jamaica. I'm Brittany Clark. The government of Jamaica says it is continuing to monitor the rapidly worsening situation in the Middle East, with officials urging Jamaicans in the region to stay vigilant and follow official guidance. At the recent post-cabinet briefing on Wednesday, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Senator Kamina Johnson-Smith, shared the latest advisory from the ministry. She emphasized the importance of exercising extreme caution and relying only on verified sources of information.
The government of Jamaica continues to monitor with concern the rapidly evolving security situation in the Middle East, which has further deteriorated in recent days. The government hopes for an immediate cessation of hostilities and urges calm and restraint for the protection of civilian life.
Senator Johnson-Smith also noted that some have been able to leave conflict zones, though commercial flights remain limited and subject to sudden cancellation.
There are also persons who have been able to leave the region. I myself spoke with a couple who was able to leave yesterday, but they are traveling, or they traveled to Bangkok. The difficulty is with flights coming in this direction. As far as I am aware, I believe the UAE has opened some corridors for safe air travel, but the actual airlines and the flights are not only limited, but they are subject to cancellation in the event of change in circumstances.
The minister also stressed the need to follow local authorities' instructions, stay alert to developments, and maintain basic food and water supplies in case movement becomes restricted.
Nationals in region should therefore continue to follow the instructions of local authorities and to remain alert to developments that may impact their safety. It is important to remind Jamaicans and your families to rely on verified information from official sources and established news organizations. Unverified reports circulating online may contribute to confusion and anxiety, and individuals are therefore encouraged to also exercise caution before sharing or acting on unverified information.
The ministry has provided multiple contact points for Jamaicans in the region.
So we want to remind you as well that the ministry has provided a consular number for wherever you are. It is +1 876 391 8105. +1 876 391 8105. And this number, don't worry if you call it and it rings without an answer, leave a message or send a WhatsApp. It is monitored and callbacks are made. And I'm asking Jamaicans, please don't decide you're going to try and test out the number. It's working. It's not for you. It's for people who are in a state of emergency.
The government continues to closely track developments, urging Jamaicans in the Middle East to remain alert, follow official instructions, and avoid unnecessary travel until the situation stabilizes. More Jamaicans with criminal records will now have a greater chance at a fresh start. The government has brought into effect the Criminal Records Rehabilitation of Offenders Amendment Act 2026, which expands opportunities for expungement and introduces automatic relief in certain cases. The new law, which received assent from Governor General Patrick Allen on February 20, establishes a clearer pathway for Jamaicans with past convictions to move forward with their lives. The details in this report from Danita Rodney.
Justice Minister Delroy Chuck says the reform is designed to help rehabilitated individuals reintegrate into society while still protecting public interest.
The government has long recognized that expungement plays a critical role in enabling rehabilitated persons to reintegrate into society. Access to employment, professional licensing, educational opportunities, and international travel may all be adversely affected by the existence of a criminal record. The reform is therefore grounded in the principle of a meaningful second chance.
Speaking at the recent post-cabinet press briefing at Jamaica House, Minister Chuck explains that the amended act establishes a two-stage framework for addressing the criminal records of rehabilitated persons.
For your information, the Criminal Records in Rehabilitation of Offenders Act establishes a two-stage framework for addressing the criminal records of rehabilitated persons. The first stage provides that upon the expiration of the prescribed rehabilitation period, a qualifying conviction is automatically treated as spent, and the individual is regarded in law as a rehabilitated person. The second stage permits the rehabilitated person to apply to the Criminal Records Rehabilitation of Offenders Board for the expungement of the spent conviction from his or her criminal record.
Minister Chuck says that a board will conduct independent inquiries before granting expungement.
In considering such applications, the board must conduct its own inquiries and be satisfied that the applicant has in fact been rehabilitated and that the granting of expungement will not prejudice the interests of justice or national security.
The government says amendments to Jamaica's expungement law are aimed at strengthening and modernizing the system by expanding access, clarifying the decision-making role of the Criminal Records Rehabilitation of Offenders Board, and improving efficiency and fairness in the process. Reporting for the news on PBCJ, I am Denida Rodney.
China's annual political gathering, known as Two Sessions, is currently underway in Beijing, showcasing the country's plans for the next 5 years. The event brings together China's top legislative and political advisory bodies, the National People's Congress, NPC, and the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference, CPPCC, to discuss national policies, economic plans, and the international engagement for the year ahead. Marlon Samuels has more in this report.
China's Two Sessions highlight a strategic focus on economic growth and global cooperation, offering promising avenues for Jamaica and the Caribbean to bolster their development agendas through stronger partnerships with China. This year's sessions focus heavily on innovation, green development, and expanding international cooperation. China aims to accelerate its economic growth and deepen its global partnerships, especially in regions like the Caribbean and Latin America.
During the 15th five-year plan period, China will continue to steadily open up institutionally, uphold the multilateral trading system, expand the space for two-way investment, and advance high-quality Belt and Road cooperation. We will work with all countries to make the pie of development bigger, share opportunities with each other, and create a better future together. The MPC Standing Committee will work to make the foreign-related legal system more open and transparent, help foster a top-notch business environment that is market-oriented, law-based, and internationalized, and continually cement the legal foundation for high-standard opening up. China has a steadfast commitment to opening up as a basic national policy and a transparent, stable, and predictable policy environment. China was, is, and will be an ideal, secure, and promising destination for foreign investment.
For Jamaica and the wider Caribbean, these developments present significant opportunities. China has become a key partner in infrastructure, trade, and investment projects across the region. The two sessions signal China's continued commitment to economic diplomacy, which could translate into increased funding for projects such as transportation, renewable energy, and tourism development. It's a major step towards sustainable growth and independence for Jamaica and the Caribbean. It presents both opportunities and challenges. Experts believe that Jamaica and the Caribbean nations can benefit from strengthened trade relations and participation in China's Belt and Road Initiative, which aims to improve connectivity and economic integration across continents. Additionally, as China emphasizes sustainable development, Caribbean nations can explore collaborations in renewable energy and climate resilience efforts. I am Marlon Samuels, reporting from Beijing, China for PBCJ News.
Welcome to today's Business Report. I'm Denise Williams, bringing you the development shaping markets, capital access, and business decision-making across Jamaica and the region. Let's get into the stories that matter. Jamaica's public finances remain broadly sustainable, but key risks from Hurricane Melissa are still to be fully accounted for. Fiscal Commissioner Courtney Williams said that while the government projects a return to a declining debt to GDP path next fiscal year, the target of reducing debt to 60% of GDP by the 2029-2030 fiscal year is unlikely to be met based on current information. The commissioner said projections are preliminary and were prepared without a detailed damage and loss assessment from Hurricane Melissa or full operational plans from the National Reconstruction and Resilience Authority. He also raised concerns about optimistic growth projections, an ambitious capital budget, and uncertainty surrounding wage settlements. The fiscal commissioner said until detailed reconstruction plans and updated damage assessments were completed, he cannot confirm that the government's current fiscal path will achieve its 60% debt target within the proposed timeline. Motorists should brace for higher fuel costs at the pumps starting Thursday, March 5. The latest ex-refinery prices from Petrojam show increases across gasoline, diesel, and petroleum products. The price of 90-octane gasoline will rise by $4.50 to $161.81 per liter, while 87-octane goes up $3.06 to $154.38 per liter. Diesel fuel also sees a boost, with automotive diesel now at $166.75 per liter, and ultra-low sulfur diesel climbing to $173.59 per liter, an increase of $4.50. Other petroleum products are also affected. Kerosene rises by $4.50 to $156.15 per liter. Propane liquid petroleum increases by $1.63 to $70.93 per liter, and butane liquid petroleum goes up by $3.06 to $80.15 per liter. Retailers and marketing companies will apply their own markups on top of these price increases, meaning that consumers are likely to feel the full impact at service stations across the island. For the trading period of March 4, 2026, the most actively traded securities on the Jamaica Stock Exchange were Kentire Holdings Jamaica Limited with 5,559,386 units, representing 29.65% of market sales activities. Atlantic Hardware and Plumbing Company with 4,242,000 1,126 units, representing 22.62% of market sales activity. Trans-Jamaica Highway Limited shares with 2,396,815 units, representing 12.78% of market sales activity. Investor activity on the Jamaica Stock Exchange remained concentrated in transportation, media, and construction plays, signaling continued interest in dividend-producing and strategic assets. Turning to the foreign exchange market, based on Bank of Jamaica data for March 4, 2026, Forex traders recorded significant activity with strong demand across major currencies. The US dollar saw trading margins reflected steadily, for the US selling at $157.32 and buying at $155.69. For the Canadian dollar, moderate gains supported by $3.79 transaction spreads. The Canadian dollar sold for $111.77 and was bought for $115.56. For the British pound, continued volatility offered short-term trading opportunities of $5.36 in profits for the banks. The British pound sold for $205.62 and was bought for $210.98. These movements underscore the importance of cash flow timing and currency awareness for businesses managing import costs, debt servicing, or overseas exposure. For our credit report tip of the day, a credit report makes differences between couples visible without turning the conversation into financial blame. For example, high credit card balances may reflect lifestyle spending habits, or limited credit use may show a fear of debt or risk. Multiple business or financing accounts may show that one party in the couple has entrepreneurial thinking. So instead of each person in the partnership trying to change each other, the goal is to use your credit report to design a system that works for both personalities. Some practical strategies include: define what the joint financial goals are. Is it home ownership, business expansion, or investments? You could create an agreed limit on discretionary spending. Alternatively, you could separate personal spending accounts from the strategic goal-oriented financial accounts. As a couple, you could do quarterly financial check-ins similar to a business review. Couples who treat their finances like a partnership rather than a power struggle tend to build wealth more effectively over time. And that's today's business report. I'm Denise Williams, bringing clarity to capital, markets, and strategy. Until next time, stay informed, stay intentional, and keep building forward. See you soon.
In regional news, the Middle East conflict is starting to ripple across Grenada and the Caribbean, hitting energy prices and everyday goods. Fuel, electricity, and shipping costs are expected to rise, and businesses may face delays bringing in raw materials. Experts are urging Grenadians to cut back on energy use at home and on the road to help ease the impact on their wallets as the situation unfolds. The details in this GBN News report.
The energy sector is set to feel the brunt of the effects of the escalation of the conflict in the Middle East for the economies in Grenada and the region. The cost of energy, according to Christopher Diali, will be impacted, who notes the closure of the Strait of Hormuz by Iran, which is strategic to the export of most of the oil and natural gas.
When that happens, costs for advanced countries will go up. So the cost of stuff that we import every week will go up as that heads up. That's commodities now. So there will be inflationary increases there. And of course, we will see for energy directly, the price of gas and the price of generating electricity and all of that. It will have a multiple effect across the board for islands like us in the OECS and the Caribbean.
Mr. Diallo says preparation for these effects will have to start at the individual level and their ability to conserve.
That's how now and Nongs, when we're heading into drought situations, everybody's expected to fill containers with water to mitigate the lack of water to use. The same thing will have to apply to energy. We will probably have to drive less, so we go to the gas pump less, so it costs us a little less to fill up our vehicles. Similarly, at home, we pay attention to our lights and our energy consumption and hope that over the next period that this is going on and the world isn't thrown into this kind of crisis, that we can mitigate the effects on our pockets.
He is expecting delayed effects to businesses. However, increases in energy costs is the anticipated outcome, as well as increased cost for shipping. The former private sector senator explains that in bringing in raw materials, goods and commodities, freight costs will significantly increase based on the length of the war.
Of course, government has the option to help by giving subsidies of some sort of nature, whether it's through Grenlec or other things at the pump, but that is costly for the government, and the government, of course, will have to weigh if they're doing something like that, considering something like that, how long they could do it for. And then, of course, they have to keep paying attention to what is happening to the price of oil as the situation evolves.
Diallo says the delayed effect is a positive for businesses, which can plan ahead and control inventory levels for adequate supply to customers.
Already seeing huge increases in oil tankers passing through the Straits of Hormuz, and now that is closed off, that is going to create even more issues with freight and the cost of getting goods to the US and other major countries that we buy commodities and services and goods from. So it is going to have a challenge. Businesses will have to look at their raw materials and understand how it's going to impact in terms of supply to customers in Grenada if the shipping cost goes up and if there's delays in shipping because of this situation over there.
While he encourages personal lifestyle changes to mitigate the effects, the former senator notes the possible downturn of money circulating in the country due to a likely prolonged war.
I am Gerard Joseph reporting.
Big moves in Caribbean cooperation. Guyana and St. Kitts and Nevis are set to deepen their ties. President Dr. Muhammad Ali says he and Prime Minister Dr. Terence Drew will formalize agreements across several key areas, including education, energy, and agriculture, in a new development framework. Glenn Bart reports for SKN Newsline.
When Guyana's President Dr. Mohamed Irfan Ali met with citizens living in St. Kitts and Nevis during a breakfast meeting on 27 February 2026, he disclosed that discussion had been ongoing with Prime Minister Dr. Terence Drew about forging closer developmental relations between the two countries. During recent travels to Guyana ahead of the CARICOM Heads of Government regular meeting, it was decided that MOUs will be signed in 7 areas that will define the official developmental relations between the two countries. Both leaders briefly commented on the planned new relations during the meeting.
And we have decided that the long historic relationship of our two countries must now take deeper roots and greater structure. And because of that decision for our relationship to take deeper root and stronger structure, we have decided that we will have an official development framework grounded in a number of MOUs, identifying a number of priorities that we will pursue together in the interests of the development of our countries and the people of our countries.
I can tell you that in a few weeks I'm taking a contingent to Guyana to visit with His Excellency President to formalize a number of MOUs and agreements that we think will be down to the benefit of your community, specifically here in St. Kitts and Nevis. And I think it would allude to some of the things that we have already discussed. We came up with about 7 things that we're going to work on together, and I think he will go into some of them.
While details have not been worked out as yet, education, energy, and agriculture are likely to be within the new framework. Glenn Bart reporting for SK Newsline.
In sports, we're underway with football. Jamaica's Reggae Boys are set to welcome 2 new British-born stars ahead of the FIFA Interconfederation World Cup playoffs in Mexico later this month. Striker Efron Mason Clark of Coventry City and Andre Brooks of Sheffield United, both plying their trade in England's championship, have officially confirmed their availability for the 3-team playoff tournament. Mason Clark, valued at £10 million, has netted 7 goals and provided 5 assists this season, helping Coventry sit 5 points clear at the top and on the brink of Premier League promotion. Brooks has contributed 5 goals in 31 appearances for Sheffield, currently 13th in the table. 3 other British-born players have also secured Jamaican passports, though their participation is still to be confirmed. Jamaica travels to Mexico on March 23 for a playoff clash with New Caledonia 3 days later, with the winner set to face the Democratic Republic of Congo on March 30 for a spot at the FIFA World Cup finals this summer. That's across the United States, Mexico, and Canada. Still on the football field, excitement is building for the start of the Jamaica Women's Premier League this Saturday. Jamaica Football Federation President Michael Ricketts says the season promises to be a landmark one, kicking off with the 6 opening matches across the country.
I must express my absolute delight, my gratitude to all the stakeholders who would have put their thoughts together. They would have, of course, engaged new sponsors, new teams. So we are very hopeful and expectant that we'll have a very, very exciting and successful Jamaica Women's Premier League for year 2026.
All eyes are on newcomers Real Mona FC as they make their debut against Arnett Gardens at the Anthony Spalding Sports Complex. Defending champions Fraser's Whip begin their title defense against Los Perfectos at Brooks Park, while proven girls Springers United, Real Mobe, Federal United, and Yui Women kick off across the island. Ricketts says the federation is on a mission to grow women's football locally.
We are intent on ensuring that we reach out to every single parish, probably every community, to try and get them so organized that they can go through the process of getting into the Women's Premier League. So we have provided a platform, we have provided a kind of a process that once you are interested and you want to play women's football, then get involved, and it's up to you to go through the channels and then, of course, get into the Premiership.
He emphasized that beyond the trophies and accolades, the league represents a vital platform for development.
The sky's the limit once you stay focused. We are on the rise. We want to reach out to every single young girl. And the sky is the limit once you show some level of interest in women's football, get your academics at a level. I am assuring you there's a scholarship awaiting you.
That's the news on PBCJ. You can follow us on our social media platforms at PBCJamaica. Thanks for watching.